Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wake Up and Dream. I'm here with Lisa and Kelly, and we have a special guest with us today, Jennifer Piala. We met Jen through our coaching program that we talk about every once in a while with Julie Ciardi, and she is just such a light. She's so incredible. All of us actually met in Nashville in November, and I can't wait to get to see you ladies again in person. But yeah, so Jen is a financial abundance coach, and she just has a wealth of knowledge to share. So I hope that you guys get some really good nuggets from today. But I wanted to first tell you about a quote that she really, really loves. The quote is, "She created a life she loved." And then I want to turn it over to Jen just to tell us a little bit about herself and dive into this quote a little bit more as well.
I love it. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, Kelly and Lisa. It is such a joy to spend this time with you ladies. I appreciate the invite. Just thank you for having me. But yeah, so I have been married for 20 years. I have two grown children. Well, I call him grown. He'll be 18 in July, and my other one will be 20 in September. So they're both heading off to college in the fall. I work full time as a nurse, and my husband is a manager at Walmart. Um, but I love this quote because it really speaks to my heart. She created a life she loves. So there's a couple of things that just really impact me. Um, I think the word created is so powerful because to me, it means that God gave us free will. And that is so special to me. And it just kind of gives me the permission to create, to be, to do, to share, to give, to love, whatever that looks like to me. And that is one of the things that I love about this quote. But I also think that we almost have a due diligence to be living a life we love. Because when we choose to live the life that we love, we have impact in so many different areas. Even if we live it silently, enjoy, people are watching us. Your kids are watching you, your friends, your coworkers. It's just a really, really special thing because when we are loving our life, we can pour out onto other people and just love them. So that is what that quote means to me and why it's so special to my heart.
Oh, Jen, I just love that. I love your heart and I love just your passion that you have to create that life that you love because all of us moms, we go through times where we don't feel that inspiration or that drive. We've talked about many times before here on the podcast that we're just kind of going through all the shoulds and what we should be doing as a wife, what we should be doing as a mom. But there is that piece where all of a sudden we have this desire to start creating something more for us. So you're a wife, you're a mom, and a nurse. But what inspired you to go bigger? And what things did you do that you feel are bigger than not just a wife, a mom, and a nurse, but you started dreaming a little bit more. Tell us about what you were dreaming about, how you've kind of made it happen and come to kind of a reality.
Yeah, well, geez, Kelly, that's a really big question, but I think it was just like this fire in my belly is really the only way I can explain it. It wasn't like I had this big event that happened or like a big emotional thing happening in my life or my family or nothing like that. It was just this fire in my belly for more. And I still am not even 100% sure what that means or what that looks like. But I knew that something was missing. Something was missing in my soul. Emotionally, I was filled. I mean, I have like a freaking awesome life. I mean, I really do. There was still something missing. And I really feel like it was the fact that I wasn't pursuing things bigger and kind of beyond me and stretching myself and maybe keeping myself a little bit small, even though I've never really been afraid to take on new things. It's really tricky to explain, but I can share with you that even though I knew I wanted more, I didn't know what that was. I also, alongside of this, came out of a financial hardship with my husband, which was not treacherous. It was not horrible. It was a little less than mediocre, the financial life we were living. And we were able to pull ourselves out of that. And that gave me so much power and so much hope. At the same time, I was also surrounded with women making comments like, we can't afford that, oh, I'm going to have to put that on the credit card, or I don't know what would happen if, we had a $2,000 medical expense. We can't afford that. And it was tugging at my heartstrings because I knew the freedom that I felt after we kind of came out of that I wanted to share with other women too. So I guess it's kind of the mesh of having this nudge to help these women, being I had already been in their shoes, but also this fire in my belly, and kind of realizing that I could combine the two and really feel fulfilled and have impact while helping women create a life they love.
Ah, Jen, this is so good for our listeners to hear, because we have a limited amount of time here on this planet, right? I mean, life is short. And I think for me, realizing that, like, I can love my life, I can love my family, I can love all of the things, even my full-time job, and still have a desire to become more, to grow, to have more impact. I love the fact that you use the word impact, because I think that's the fire. That's the fire, is not just keeping it for yourself. You said you went through a financial hardship, and now you could have just said, that was great and yay us, right? But you wanted to make a difference. You want to make that impact. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I really try to be transparent and honest, and I'm just going to be real with you guys. When I was hearing these women and their negativity towards their money, I was annoyed. Because in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, then do something about it. However, I wasn't offering to help them. I wasn't offering to coach them. I was not offering to share my journey with them. I was just like, well, why aren't they doing something about it? I was very judgmental. And I was able to kind of take a step back and look at myself. And, you guys have probably heard that saying, like, if something really annoys you or you're really upset about something, that is where you should put your focus and impact. And so that's what I decided to do. It's like I can either get frustrated with these comments that my friends, coworkers, and, the people around me are making, or I can step in and offer to be a light, to help, because I was in their same shoes. And until someone gave me a light, I didn't know any better either. And so it was kind of a little bit of awakening. And then, of course, I share this with you, and it's like, what kind of person was I? But again, I feel like I just have it in my heart to be very real. And that is exactly how I felt. And it's just, I'm already seeing in the short time in my financial coaching business, just the eyes opening, and it's already having impact. And that means so much to me.
Jen, so first off, I can listen to you all day. I don't know if it's your accent or your little quotes. I could listen to you all day. So that's for starters. But one thing that I want to point out, which I feel like you kind of glossed over in a way, but is so important, is how much gratitude you felt even when you were going through those financial hardships. And it was kind of like a little, like you kind of glossed over it. And you said, I know I'm very thankful for my life. I'm happy with where I've been and what I have. And even, then you kind of went into this, how you struggled in whatever you were struggling with at that time, but you never, the gratitude never wavered. And I feel like that's just so incredible and something that like is really hard for some people to have that feeling of gratitude while they're in the trenches. So I don't know if there's anything to touch upon with that.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, Sarah, because if we are not in gratitude for things, then it's kind of like we're putting the opposite energy out there, right? Almost a little bit of negativity. So if you are constantly saying to yourself, we can't afford that, or must be nice for them to go on such a nice vacation, or we'll never be able to have a house like that, or we're always going to have a car payment, then you are blocking the opportunity for the opposite to come. So you're basically putting up a wall to be free of car payments. You're putting up a wall of enjoyable vacations. Does that kind of make sense the way I'm explaining it? So I think gratitude, yes. I remember even, when we were in the trenches, which granted, there was people way worse off than we were, and there still are, but it was very mediocre and it was not to my level of what I wanted. That was the main thing. Some people might be very happy living that way. I was very discontent, very discontent. However, when I did the bills, because it was my job and still is in the house, that's just kind of what I did. I write the checks and pay the bills and know what, automatically comes out of the accounts. I was in such gratefulness and gratitude that we could pay our bills. I mean, like my heart overflowed that we were never behind, because we weren't, maybe a month on the electric bill or something little like that, but we could always pay our bills. And that really meant so much to me.
So good. And in your attitude of gratitude, I would guess that a lot of people listening, a lot of moms listening, may not be in that place of gratitude. If you're in the trenches of, trying to pay the bills and there's, the stress of that, how, I guess my follow-up question is like, how aware do you think people are that there is a way out, or there is help, or, you can have a different life?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I mean, I think there's definitely people on both sides. Some people are definitely like stuck. This is how life is. This is how it'll always be. This is how it was for my parents. This is how it was for my grandparents. And other people are just like I was. Like, this is fine, but I want more. Like, this is okay, but I want to do better than just be able to pay my bills. Like, that's not fun. I mean, it's great, but that's not fun. And so I really think that with anything, it has to start with the desire that you want something more, and then the belief, like, you can actually achieve it. Maybe you don't know how, because I certainly didn't. But again, it was that fire in my belly. I desired so deeply more for our family. I desired, to be able to go away for the weekend with my husband without having to worry about money, or to take our kids on a last minute week-long vacation to wherever we wanted and not think about it. I wanted to be able to buy that couple dinner from across the restaurant anonymously, just as a little treat. I wanted to do those things, but I could barely buy our own dinner at the restaurant at that time. And so the desire is something that not everyone has, which is really interesting, right? Because why wouldn't everyone want more? But not everyone does have the desire. And I think they push their desire down because the belief isn't there. So they just kind of scoot that aside and not even allowing that as an option. But
Jen, that is such a good
yeah.
point, because I was going to ask you, like, did you always have that burning desire? Because we don't get into a financial situation typically overnight. It's kind of this gradual, you kind of get behind on bills, you're not making the income you thought, you're living without, this outside your means, or it just kind of gradually goes to, I don't know, to the wayside kind of thing. That's kind of how my infertility journey was with depression. It wasn't like I was depressed overnight. It happened little by little. And then you do get to a point where you do start to feel like, this isn't me. This is, I don't want this life anymore. I want more in our family life, my personal life. And so, yeah, just kind of for our listeners, was it an overnight thing where you realized this isn't, what I want anymore? Did you always kind of have that burning desire, or were you kind of in the trenches for a little bit or a while, and then something kind of hit you that you were ready to make that change? Like you were saying, not everyone has that desire. Well, where does that, how did it hit you? Where did it come from to do more?
Well, I think I have always had that fire in my belly. But how, like, our financial, how we got to the place that we were financially is we got married, had our second baby, and bought a home we shouldn't have bought within 2 years. So I was learning how to be a mom, learning how to be a wife, trying to manage a mortgage, which I never had. I was not working at the time because I was staying home with my babies. And it was everything. Like I said, it was wonderful, but I was like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. And then I would see this pure look of exhaustion on my husband's face because he's working 12, 14-hour days because he feels like that's what he needs to do as the man of the house. And it was just like, there's more. What is it? I don't know. What is it? There's got to be more. There's got to be more. There's got to be more. How do they live like that? There's got to be more. There's got to be more. And really a turning point, Kelly, for us was when we were visiting my sister who lives across the country, and Dave Ramsey was the speaker at her church. Now, I didn't know Dave Ramsey. I had heard of him, but that 35 minutes that he spoke, that was probably about 8 or so years ago, left such an impact on my husband and I. Life-changing impact. And from then on, it was kind of like, ooh, game on. All right, let's do this. But I think, Kelly, just to kind of give some food for thought to your listeners, is I think people often get to the point because they're not diligent with their dollars. They're not intentional. They're, I think I was even sharing with you the other day, like we used to live in, you swiped the debit card and it wasn't declined, so we're all good. There's a little bit of YOLO going on, and they don't know where their money's going. And it's not that maybe they're spending it on extravagant things that they don't need, but it's silly things. It's $20 at TJ Maxx, and then it's you go out to dinner, and then it's you buy your girlfriend coffee at Starbucks, and all of a sudden you spent $75 in a week, and what do you have to show for it? Maybe a pair of shoes and a coffee or something, So I think that is where a lot of women are kind of just not aware. And so that's why one of my suggestions is always being aware of where your money is going, because if you don't know that, then you don't have control. But if you can intentionally tell every dollar where to go and how to behave, like it's your child, like, okay, this dollar's going there and this dollar's going there, then it gives you such power and peace. Does that answer your question?
Oh, for sure. I want to ask the next question, because I know our listeners are going, oh my gosh, like I'm your girl. I'm not knowing where every dollar is going, and I'm on this slippery slope. What just give us in a nutshell, like what do you offer through your financial abundance coaching?
Well, what I offer is for women to stop worrying about their money and to create a life they love. That's what I offer. But if that's too much for you to get your head around right now, my suggestion, and this is something you can just start right away, is just for a week or two, probably 2 weeks is better. Just be really, really cognizant of where you're spending your money. Just write it down, keep receipts, put it in your phone, send yourself a text, whatever you have to do to make yourself aware of where your money's going, because that is maybe the number one problem. If not, it's probably the number two problem that is going on is people are just, they don't know where it's going.
Do we have to count the purchases from like Amazon at like 2 a.m. when I can't sleep, or can we like ignore those?
You've got to count it. Oh, Sarah, but I love that question. I mean, it's all about being honest, right? I asked, I think on Facebook, I like did a poll and asked, what's your biggest financial challenge? And one girl said Amazon and takeout. And I was like, can we not get more honest than that? Like, seriously. So I love honesty. But if you do that and look back and you look at what you've spent and you're like, holy buckets, if, I could have saved $200 in the last 2 weeks if I just would have been aware of what I was doing. And then think about, man, $200 in 2 weeks. I could use that for XYZ. I could use that to pay down my house. I could use that to, fund my kids' college. I could use that for retirement. I could use that on this really fancy dress that I've been wanting. I could use that for weekend away with the hubby. Then it's like you're stealing from that one thing that you really want for all these little things that you don't even notice.
Totally get it. And I know for our family, we've done more intentional, observation of, because the out to eat budget, oh my word, it's like off the charts. And you think if you add that up through the whole month, like what we could do if we just didn't go out a couple times a week, that kind of thing. So, wow. So let's say that our listeners are like, you know what, I resonate, but I'm going to need more help than just, taking that first step of tracking, looking for someone to partner with me to get a handle on you know the overwhelm that I'm feeling. What would be the next step for anyone that's looking to just get more information about what you offer?
Well, I always suggest scheduling a complimentary cash clarity call. It's completely free and it's just about a 45 minute session where we chat about the blueprint that you want for your money. What do you desire and how we can create ways for you to live in the now, but also have a savings for the future, because that's pretty much what we all want, right? We want both. We want the best of both worlds. And so it's finding that balance. So that's definitely something that I would recommend. And I know you guys can post the link for me if your listeners want to go ahead and schedule that. If you have ladies that aren't ready to do that, I am on Facebook. I have a Facebook group where I show up and provide value in tips with your budgeting or how to have fun on a budget or, ways to pay off debt or whatever's on my heart that day. So that would be a really good place if they just want to get a kind of dip their toe in.
Love it. So all of that is going to be in the show notes. So be sure to check that out. And as always, Jen, we just want to thank you for spending this time with us. We're grateful for your energy and around this very needed topic. So If you liked this episode, be sure to give us a review and rate us and share it on your social media, as well as in the show notes. You can also find ways and the information to connect with each of us, as well as Jen and all of her ways, a consult or her Facebook group. So thank you so much. And we look forward to doing this next week, where we wake up and dream.
Thanks, ladies. It was a pleasure.